Welcome back to my channel, everyone. 3 tips here. This is day 11 of the 6-liter silver cell operation. You can see those anode bars that I stuck in there a few days ago began to dissolve, and I gotta say, this thing seems to be a lot more efficient. The smaller silver cell would clog up rather quickly. This tiny filter that I used to use in the smaller cell, you can see it's quite a bit smaller than the anode filter that I have in there now, and it doesn't clog up as quickly. I was still pulling 2 amps on this earlier, went out to mow the lawn and came back and I got 0 amps flowing through the cell. And I meant to tamp the silver down, but I didn't do it. I was saving it for the video. That means this fuse has blown because we've made contact. The silver has made contact with the anode filter. What I'll do is secure the power supply, and then we'll come down here. I'm going to pull the anode bar out of here. If you look at this thing, it's in real good shape. Didn't get dissolved, so we can reuse this, no problem. And here's the fuse that we had in there. You can see it's burnt. Now let's peek down in here and see what we can see as far as the silver crystal. Oh yeah, I can see a little nest of tiny crystals right there, and those made contact with the anode filter and shorted the cell out and blew our fuse up there. So that's exactly the problem. Let's get the anode filter off of here so we can get a good look down inside the silver cell. Here's a good look. 11 days growth of pure silver down in the electrolytic silver cell. You can see that little nest of crystals right there. As the distance between the anode filter and the silver that's already formed on the bottom of the cell, as that distance decreases from the silver growing, it starts to grow real fast, real small needle-like crystals. You can see them right there, and that's what's made contact with the anode filter and caused our fuse to blow. Now, if we hadn't had that fuse in there, what would happen is the crystals would continue to grow, and it would make a very active short circuit. The silver cell would heat up. The slimes from our anode filter basket would spill out down into our silver cell and ruin this batch of silver. So that fuse has saved me. Let's look down in this anode filter. Like I said earlier, this filter took a long time to clog up and slow down, so I think this larger cell is a much better, more efficient way to let me pull some of these out of here. I haven't had me even touch the electrolyte yet. That's still good to go. Set it down out of the way over here. This one hasn't touched the electrolyte, so I can use that in the next cell. Set it out of the way. Same with this one, I think. Yeah. All these things really did was press down the impure silver shot down here. I hadn't started to dissolve, maybe a little bit under there, But we can use that again in our next cell run. There you go. You can see right here the edge of the bar has begun to dissolve away because it was in contact with the electrolyte. Alright, let's see what this one did. Got a little bit of contact going on with this piece, so I'll be able to save this one as well. And this one down here, this one got down into the electrolyte pretty good. This piece here, let's see what he looks like. He's not too bad either. I think this one, it's got a little bit of junk on him, but we can rinse that off and we can save all of these bars and run these back through the cell. I'll tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to clean this bar off here. Just squirt him off with some distilled water. And I think that should be sufficient to get all that junk off of there. And we can use this again for our next silver cell run. What I'll do is I'll go through and rinse all these off. Just get that black slimes mess off of there, because that will create some resistance. But I think these will be okay for the next run of the silver cell. Be good to go to use those in our anode filter basket. Here's what's left in the anode filter basket. Those are the slimes, and that's going to have mostly silver, but it's going to have some precious metals in it, and so we'll save that. Let's go ahead and drop the cathode connection off of here. If you remember, last time I harvested the pure silver crystal out of my dual small cells. One of them had electrolyte in it that had been used twice, and I cemented the silver out in here. And so I need one of these big beakers, the only two 5-liter beakers that I have. And I was going to use this electrolyte a second time, but I'm just going to go ahead and pour this off into the into this beaker with the piece of copper in it. And we're going to use this large beaker that I'm pouring this liquid off from. This is the electrolyte from silver cell number 1. What we'll do is we're going to use this large beaker now to collect the electrolyte out of our 6-liter cell. There was still lots of silver in that electrolyte, and there's a piece of copper in there. That silver will come out of solution on that piece of copper, and then we'll collect the cement silver, wash it off, melt it into the shot, and run it back through the silver cell. Let's go ahead and see if we can dump the electrolyte off out of this 6-liter cell now. First time I've ever tried to do this. Might have to get over here and get a better fix on it. Oh my goodness, it's heavy. Spilled a lot of it in that pan. Glad I had that pan down there. You can see there's a bunch of electrolyte that's spilled. That's why I had this pan down here. I didn't know how this was going to go. I'll have to refine that a little bit maybe later on in future videos so that I don't spill the electrolyte everywhere. Now let me get this out of the way, and we'll pull up the pure silver over here. And what we'll do is go ahead and scrape down the sides now carefully. here we go. We're going to try to transfer the silver now into this beaker. See if I can make this happen. Oh, good Lord. That is heavy. That's our pure silver crystal harvest. And this is the electrolyte that we just poured off. I'm not going to try to save this for another use. I think what we'll do is just put it over here. And I'm going to add it right in to this. And we're going to cement the silver out of here right away. Until I get some more experience. Oh shoot. Until I get some more experience with the with that big silver cell, man. It's my first time handling this much and doing a harvest on this big cell. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to use new electrolyte for the next run of the 6-liter silver cell. All right, let's see if we can get this silver down in this beaker now. Ooh, that thing is heavy, man. Good Lord. Silver is... Look at those crystals, man. Those things are awesome looking. Highly unusual. Silver is... It's a different animal, man. It takes a lot of effort. It's not like gold. I can refine gold in a day. Silver's a lot more bulky. And it takes a lot more time to get it to purify in the silver cell. There's our silver. Good Lord, look at all that silver down in that beaker. I wish you could see this in real life. It's just beautiful. The crystals are faceted and brightly reflective. I don't know what this is going to be. I put all 3.7 kilos of the impure silver shot in there. So we might have that much silver. I don't know. Okay, for right now, I think what we'll do is just add some distilled water to this. Let it soak in distilled water as the first step in getting all the electrolyte rinsed off of there. And if you look over here, that's the electrolyte that we had in the cell. And there's a bunch of silver in there. I'm gonna have to add some copper and get all that cemented out. Back here is a jar of silver from my gold refining. I'm heating that up to consume the excess nitric out of there. There's pieces of sterling in there that will react with the excess nitric and get that all used up. Back here's my filter, anode filter. There's some silver solution, electrolyte down in that beaker underneath the anode filter. This is our solution that we're cementing on copper. Here's a piece of copper down in there. So I'm going to have a big beaker full of cement silver when this gets done. Here I've got a couple more jars of silver solution for my gold refining. This has to be filtered. I've got some silver nitrate solution here in this bottle. Over here I've got some silver from my gold filled scrap refining. If you look down at the bottom, you'll see that there's some silver chloride down there. So I need to treat the waste solution that's on top of there, recover that silver chloride down there, and then we'll convert that to pure silver with lye and sugar. Finally, I've got a bucket of cement silver here, and this needs to be melted into shot. I've got a couple more pans of cement silver back here from the electrolyte from previous refining. And then down here I've got a little furnace set up, and we're going to start melting some of that cement silver and then pour it into our water tank and make some impure silver shot to run through the electrolytic silver cell. With a little bit of tap water, it's got a submersible pump in there. Save a little room for some ice. Now let's start the submersible pump, and this will shoot water over the board there and keep it cool while we pour the molten silver onto that board. Now let's take some of this cement silver from one of these trays, and we're going to add it to our little melt dish down here. Start melting this cement silver, and then I'm going to go in and put my mask on because I don't want to be breathing any of the fumes given off by melting that silver. This is a time lapse of melting the cement silver, and I started it out with a MAP gas torch, and then I added the oxyacetylene torch with a cutting head. Kept adding more cement silver until I got that melt dish full of molten silver. You'll see I'm going to pour it into the tank of water to form the shot that we use to feed the electrolytic silver cell. And this worked well. But then I bought a new device here. I bought a rosebud tip, and I installed that, and I used it for one cycle, and it melted the silver very quickly. I was very pleased with it. And I went back to try it again, and it started popping and sputtering on me real bad. And I think it's a real thin metal, so it was popping and sputtering, and I went ahead and went back to the oxyacetylene tip. I was disappointed in that rosebud. It was, like I said, the metal was real thin on it, and I think it just, the tip overheated and was pre-igniting the gas as it came out of the tip. So I went back to the oxyacetylene, and it worked well for me. So I might have to look and see if there's a more heavy-duty type of rosebud tip that I can use that will take the heat that's reflected back out of that melt dish. What I'll do now is take this apart and we'll empty the water out of here, and I'll retrieve the silver. If you look over here, I've put a nice dent in the amount of cement silver. I've got these two pans over here completed, melted down into our canister down here, and I've only got that much silver left in this bucket, but I've got two more of these buckets full up to about right here of cement silver that still needs to be melted and poured into shot. There's a look at the cement silver down in this beaker. It's coming out nicely on that piece of copper in there, and we'll just let this continue to react until all the silver comes out and nothing more forms on that piece of copper in there. Alright, here's our cement silver that we've melted up, and what I'll do is I'll get that out of this bucket. We'll put it in a pan and dry it off, and this will be suitable for use as feedstock, impure silver, for the electrolytic solar cell. I've transferred the impure silver shot into this pan. I've got it on low heat. We'll dry this off and then get a weight on it. Here's our pure silver crystal. I've got to rinse all that electrolyte off of there. What I'll have to do is put some of that in a separate beaker, rinse it all off until all the electrolyte's gone, and then repeat that over and over until I get all this rinsed off. Anyway, it's getting late. Time to go in and eat supper. I think what I'll do now is I'll call this, we'll call this the 6-liter silver cell, pure silver crystal harvest, and this will be part 1, and we'll do a part 2 and get that posted just as soon as I can. Okay, this will conclude part 1 of the 6-liter silver cell, pure silver crystal harvest. Thank you for watching.